measurable snow today. It's not.
No.
We're supposed to get like a half an inch.
Ground's still warm.
The ground's too warm. Now it says 34 light rain on my thing. All right.
Oh, it's only supposed to snow until like 4 o'clock.
That's it.
And what time is it now?
That sucks.
Okay.
What, 90?
Yeah. You can use that, yeah. So, yeah, let's actually, yeah, good point. Okay, guys, real quick here. So Erica was asking me about like what? Oh, I did say 2 cycles here, and I didn't mention that. I wasn't reading my own directions. This one said 2 cycles. This only shows 1. How would I draw that other one? Do it like over here. It can still go negative, so it would have been okay to do it over here as well.
Magic.
Quiet.
So if it asks for 2 cycles, you can go positive and negative. So, because we learned that negative angles are okay to have. I mean, they're more confusing in a way, but we can still get that other cycle in over there. Thank you. So just because I don't always graph on the negative side doesn't mean there isn't a negative part of this. That was the one, no, that was the one we did before.
Okay, that's what
Yeah.
I'm
You're like, it's wrong. All right, so no, this one should be different. All right, so this one, the amplitude is what? 1, because there is nothing in front of our sign. The period is going to be what? Pi over 2. The reason for that is our b value is 4. So you have to do 2 pi over 4, which is going to be pi over 2. So already going into this, I'm aware that this is going to be a faster graph that's going to repeat by the time we get to pi over 2. So that might change my spacing. I'd probably do my spacing different than I did the last one. Yep.
Is it always going to be 2 pi over something else?
Yeah, that's just the formula, 2 pi over b. Yeah. For sine and cosine. We wrote that down. So maybe circle that. It's kind of important.
That is very important.
All right. So what did you guys do as your spacing? I'm assuming you didn't do like the pi over 2. Like you didn't do the same spacing as our cosine. What'd you do as your spacing? Did you do it similar to the first sine graphs we did?
Yeah.
I'm kind of scared when you go.
All right.
You can't even see my graph because I wrote it so late.
Okay. So this first line, like you didn't do anything on that first line, you skipped it?
What?
I'm asking you guys how you guys graph this. How did you guys choose to, what was your spacing?
Went up.
Up at a half,
Yeah.
down at 1, down again at a half.
So I'm asking your spacing on the x-axis.
Yeah, I got 4 graph lines.
Pi over 2 on the 4th line. So 1, 2, 3, 4.
Agreed.
So she did pi over 2 here. So then this would be pi over 4. You guys okay with that?
Yes.
And 3 pi over 4. Because I just don't want to draw something, I mean, oh, this should be pi then. So this would be pi. So she did like every other. The biggest thing is you have to be consistent. Whatever you decide to do, you can't just kind of be haphazard about this and say like I'm going to change it halfway through. So every space basically is a pi over 8, but we want it to repeat by the time it gets to pi over 2. And this kind of gives us enough space to do that without having these kind of crazy like just like erratic bumps here. So it starts at 0, ends at 0. Middle should be 0. It goes up to 1, down to negative 1.
Why does it start at 0?
Because it's
Sine graph. Remember, sine goes 0, 1, 0, negative 1, 0. So like when you get your sine, sine always starts there. Whereas if it's cosine, then it would start at 1.
What about this?
No.
What's up?
I don't know. I just kind of like did a half. And like down half.
So if you did it, so let me, yeah, this is important. So you did if you did it the way you did it, yours are gonna be a lot like quicker. So let me show you guys another version of this. And again, you should repeat this to get two like lumps in here, or two different graphs, so lumps, two waves. Getting really technical now, the lumps. All right. Okay, let me show you guys though real quick, because Cole had made it so that he did, I think he kind of did a similar, you did pi over, so you had pi here. Oops, that's big. What's pie? Big slice of pie.
Yes, sir.
So you had pi here, he had 2 pi, 3 pi. So he basically did the same graph as we did for the one before. However, his needs to repeat by the time it gets to pi over 2. Pi over 2 is here. So what that means is this needs to go up and down before it's back. He's like, so you changed your, like, so if that's what you decided to do, that's fine, as long as your graph, like, shows that. So by pi, we would have repeated twice. So that works, it's fine. It's not like I'm gonna, like, judge you for your graph, as long as your graph still repeats during that course of that. And that's why I was trying to get out of you guys what your spacing was, because I could have chose that and you would have been like, what in the world, that doesn't look anything like mine. But these two are exactly the same graphs, it's just this one's stretched out a little bit longer, whereas this one, like you're condensed. Does that make sense? It's the same thing. So both of these are right. You might like this one aesthetically better, maybe not. Maybe you like it to be efficient or whatever. All right, we have one more to do. Okay. So our last one here, talking about cosine, careful. Cosine, not sine. Trying to stop you before you get too far. Okay. So guys, yeah, careful guys on this one. This one should be cosine. Our amplitude though, so normally cosine would start at 1 and end at 1. Except the amplitude is what? 4. But notice the negative as well. So rather than starting at +1 or +4, where should it really start?
Negative.
Yeah, so it's almost like I picture this being multiplied by that -4. So this one's actually going to start at -4 and then flip itself. So it's like going to come up and down first. How about the period?
Pi.
It's going to be pi, because the period, the b is 2. So 2 pi over 2, so pi. So I'm probably going to do the same spacing I did on the last one, where this is pi over 2, here's pi, this would be 3 pi over 2, 2 pi. That's my normal spacing unless the period is like way spread out. So this one though, I'm going to have to go down to 4 first. So I'm going to start down at 4. And then by the time I get back to pi, I should be back at 4, -4 again. In the middle of those two, I should be at +4. And so I'm going to make my curve, and then between those two, I should be at 0. So this kind of helps me in terms of my pattern. I don't know if that's like kind of a good way to think about it.
What's the last pi? Is that 4 pi?
That's 2 pi.
Okay.
And if it like mine, it's a little bit off on my points, don't, you know. And then I'm repeating again. But again, this all depends on your spacing. Sorry, that was a really bad drawing. But
okay.
It all depends on your spacing. So if you chose to space it a little bit differently, it might look a little bit different. So just gotta make sure you have it flipped. because of the negative. So it should start down and end up. No, you're just, you just chose to, you did your spacing. So real quick again, guys, just understand that depending on how you guys label yours, it's really up to you. So Jolie had labeled hers where every line was 4. So hers, like, she just made it look kind of squished. But once I looked at her units, I was like, no, she's fine because she has 4 and -4 is her values. And she started low and, you know, so you're fine, it just looks different. Like, it'd be hard to compare your answer to someone that did it with a different scale. Just like if we're all looking at different different graphing calculators and you're all in a different setting. Okay? Questions?
I just don't know how to finish this
You're welcome.